Hi, Paul Johnson here for Film Obsessive, and today I am with Sally Maersk. She is the lead actor in the film Bananahead, a short film written and directed by Christopher Greenslate. It recently premiered at HollyShorts, and Sally plays the lead role of Andy Sanger. But Sally, I should leave it to you to describe the film a little bit, and let me thank you for coming and joining us today.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, I think it's always so hard to describe something you've been in, so I'll try my best. But the our short is about Andy, who's an aspiring actor, and her mom disappeared a couple of years ago and was a famous author. And Hollywood tends to turn these type of stories into movies. So Andy goes and auditions for the role of her mom in her mom's book, gets the role, and in the meantime without spoiler, but has moved into her grandma's house and discovers her room and creepy things start happening.
And creepy things do indeed happen. Well, where did the concept for this come from?
um, well, so Christopher Greenslade and I got connected through my husband. I was sort of because I was a little frustrated with the lack of auditions and lack of work, and there's power in creating your own work. And so my husband connected Greenslade and I, and we just met up and started talking about our feelings about the industry and sort of where we were at. And I've been walking around with this feeling like getting like sort of a soccer player just sitting on the bench, but really getting ready, like really wanted to play in the game. And through our conversations, he came up with a concept which was just completely different than anything I'd ever thought about and could only come from him. So yeah, when he brought me the script, I was just like, whoa, it was, yeah, I was very surprised and just dove straight into it and was like, yeah, let's do this.
Well, I can imagine that as an actor, there are things about this particular script that are going to appeal to someone like yourself. And one is you get to play different variants of yourself, or without giving away too much of the plot, or people who are like you, right? But I also wondered at the same time if you had any trepidation about venturing kind of this far down the rabbit hole that your character ends up in.
Yeah, I was really scared in terms of just how you view yourself as an actor and how you sort of think. There's a couple of moments in the short where sort of, again, without spoiling it, but sort of Andy sees a version where all her dreams come true. And I think that was a little scary for me to shoot because it's so close to, I think, what most actors dream about being recognized and sort of being known for their work. But at this, it was very meta sometimes, filming it. But I think it was such a great challenge and it was such a good script and just really incredible to to sink my teeth into it.
And at the same time, is it a challenge then to tackle those moments in the film where Andy is really like in the belly of the beast, so to speak, and really facing her darkest demons?
Um, yeah, I mean, because it. So I have four different roles in the same, and I'm sort of playing up against myself, so, which was its own challenge sometimes. And we had a great stand-in. Her name was Britt, and just such a great. Her presence was so nice whenever I needed someone to act with. Where yeah, it was a crazy setup and changing in and out of costumes and just figuring out how to anchor each character to make them have sort of their own weight.
Yeah, and when you're on set, you know, with Christopher directing, and it's his script, are there moments ever where, you know, the two of you are kind of negotiating about how far you're gonna take this?
I don't think like it was such a safe and creative environment, I think, and for both of us, we were both very clear that sometimes making movies should ideally in the best world be fun because it is fun because we're all coming together and making something we love, especially if the script is great, and and it's good people who are working on set, and I think it's such a special, rare experience for most of us. So I
Mhm.
think when you're in that collaborative environment, you can and know the people where you're working with, you feel safe, you feel supportive. I think there's sort of no limit to the risk you're willing to take, because you feel safe.
Yeah, that's really cool, and you do, clearly have such a good team alongside you with this project. We probably
Yeah.
should give some props to, like, hair and makeup and set design too
Yeah.
in creating these different versions of yourself because, I mean, we can see it's you, but
Right.
it's really 4 different kinds or sides of you.
Yeah, especially with one character's makeup, I think I was very adamant about getting that right because it's so
Mhm.
iconic, and it's very hard actually to figure out how to do that and do it on my face, which is just different from hers in a way. And we had this one moment, it was so crazy, when our makeup artist and I, because in and out of costumes happened really fast. We are short films, so of course we're always short on time, short on people on set. So, at one point I had to get so fast in and out of costume. Like I was doing one eye and Arvin, our makeup artist, was doing my other eye at the same time because we just had to go so fast. But it's so fun at the same time. And then you arrive at set and you get to take a breath and a beat and just connect and um do your thing.
You know, one thing I'd like to ask you about too, Sally, is the film strikes me as one that is really really impressive from an aesthetic and technical standpoint. I mean, Christopher's playing with different aspect ratios.
Yeah.
Cinematography is really
Yeah,
marvelous in this short.
Rasa's.
And
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, when you're on set, do you get a sense of how complex and layered this project really is going to be when you get to the end point?
Definitely. Like I think being part of the process so early on, it was very important for Christopher also to sort of bring me along each step, which I really appreciate. He's been such a great mentor as well as a friend. Ross is just incredible. And it's because a lot of scenes were just on my own. It was so nice to have Rotha, our DP, on the other side of the camera and sort of a safe anchor because oftentimes, director's somewhere else sitting. So it's so nice to have that presence with you. Mojo created incredible set design. Yeah, it was like being part of the step by step was incredible. And it was, yeah, such a great experience.
So you came to the US from Denmark, right?
I did.
Specifically to act. Is that right? And was
Yes.
it always for film that you imagined working?
Um, Probably more theater. It's
Mhm.
crazy how life turns out. Like yeah, so I was born and raised in Denmark, but went to New York for the first time when I was 9 years old, and I was like, "This smells like home. I love this. I want to live here." And when I was old enough, I started applying to schools over here, acting schools. We have a great one in Denmark too, but it's incredibly competitive. And
Mhm.
going to school here is a great shortcut to get to stay here. And I applied to a couple in New York, and then I applied to Cal Arts here in LA and got into Cal Arts. So I was like, guess I'm gonna have to love sunshine now because
Yeah.
Denmark is not a sunny country. But yeah, and then just fell in love with LA and I've been here ever since. Yes, for almost 12 years. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And so I have to ask, I guess, how realistic or how much like your own experience has is that of Andy Sanger? Are we working in an entirely figurative realm here, or are you bringing, some of your own experience into that role that you play in Banana Head?
I think without getting like too like acting-y and too
Yeah.
nerdy with that, like I think you only have yourself. Like of course it's creating her own memory, creating Andy's memories and sort of creating her life. But I think you only have yourself and to I'm only me, right? So I think
Right.
you can't help but bring some of your own baggage with you in some
Mhm.
way, even though you sort of try to make your character their own as much as possible.
Are there other films or actors that you kind of have in the back of your head, ones that might be particularly inspirational or influential for you when you're making a film like this?
Oh my God, that's a good question. I think a lot, I think you sort of grab images from different things in a way. And I mean, my favorite movie is Interstellar. Like I will watch that any day, all the time. I
Yeah.
watched it in 70 millimeter at the Chinese theater down the street, and it was incredible. Yeah, like I love anime, like a
Oh,
lot of Hayao
interesting. Okay.
Miyazaki. So like I think, images will pop up in your head and you sort of take that with you. I know this felt very film noir to me. Um,
Huh.
so
Okay.
of course, like looking at, like I don't know, like Out of the Past or In a Lonely Place. I don't know, like you know, very noirish to me, and just
Yeah.
had a little, again, like sort of what pop, like whatever comes to you sometimes. Also, I think when you're working on a part, it's very interesting.
Well,
Um,
one thing I will say for sure, you have impeccable taste in film. A couple of those really interest me, Nolan's film for interesting, I think, is one that, Interstellar seems to divide his fans a little bit because I know there's a portion of his fandom that feels it's a little too mawkish and too sentimental. And I'm one of those for, oh, thank God, a Christopher Nolan film with a beating
yeah.
heart. What could be
Oh
better?
my. I mean, obviously, Dark Knight, like Dark Knight Rises, is also one, like out of the trilogy. But yeah, I think Interstellar is just such a beautiful, the score and the acting and how it's put. I don't know. Yeah, there's not a day that goes by where I don't like at least have some kind of. I think about it so much, how it makes me feel, and you just hope to create something that people can connect to in
I
some
hear
way.
that. And,
Yeah.
In a Lonely Place is one of my absolute top five
Oh,
films for certain. I've watched it
it's
so
so
many
good.
times.
Yeah.
I taught it and worked it, and the source novel. I don't know if you ever read that, which is also
No.
really interesting,
Ooh.
but in some ways very, very different from the film for kind of obvious reasons when you take a look at it. But it too is one of those films that really elicits very strong emotions, and it's set in Hollywood,
It is set in
with
Hollywood,
the
right?
actor and the writer, and people kind of taking on roles and recrafting narratives to suit their own imagination. So
Yeah.
it wasn't a film that occurred to me when I was watching Bananahead, but I can kind of see the connection there. That's really
I
interesting.
I think it's just more for me in terms of acting, or like I think about performances or images from movies, and
Hmm.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, In a Lonely Place is one of the saddest endings, and oh yeah,
Oh,
breaks my heart
yeah.
every time. I could talk about that for, but yeah, it's yeah, I guess, yeah, I mean, Hollywood is its own thing,
Well, I'm sure we could nerd out
and
about all
yeah.
kinds of great film noir. But I should ask you a little bit about just the experience being with Bananahead. Is it, makes its debut, gets its start on the festival circuit. You were at HollyShorts with the film?
Yes, we
Okay. Can I
were.
just ask you a little bit about what the experience was like for you?
It was crazy. I mean, it felt so wild to be there, and there's so many short films, and you get to sort of meet people, you get to meet other creatives who are just as passionate about their projects, and you go to see their short. And yeah, it was really cool to see it in a big theater with a lot of people, and also get to see that some of our jump scares worked. And of course, I know they're coming now, so I can just be like sort of sit and watch. But it was also a little bit of an out of body experience. But yeah, it was a really cool experience. HollyShorts was a great place for us to land. I think also just for Bananahead, it's sort of kismet in a way. Um, yeah.
And then, is it off to other festivals as well?
Yeah, we have the Lovecraft Festival in Oregon coming up. And then Peephole in Mexico, I forget where it is.
Oh, interesting. Okay, well, I can
Yeah.
include links to both of those. And let me just ask, what's next for you? Are you continuing to work with Christopher? Are you off on different projects? What's in the future?
Yeah, so we just wrapped Drainomania, which is our next short. I get to play with Gabrielle Maiden, who's an incredible actress. That was again just such a fun experience. Really fun to also have someone on set with me most of the time. Another actor. Yeah, and then we're working on a feature film inspired by Hedda Gabler, an Ibsen play.
Wow.
Yeah, and I mean, I would love to do theater. LA is an interesting place to figure that out, but yeah, I can feel like I miss my theater roots a little bit. But yeah, hopefully just continue to make movies with incredible collaborators.
Um, Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us, Sally. Congratulations so far on the success of Bananahead, and I wish you more as it ventures out on its festival circuit journey, and wish you the best with everything to come. Thanks for talking with us at Film Obsessive.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed talking to you.